of cocktail party, cocktail party, cocktail party. Und bring ne Tüte Dynamit mit.
Good morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Another cold, crisp morning, brilliant sunshine, so much so I've had to move things around a little bit because the sunlight coming through was just way too much. All right, so today this is a kind of a review and a little bit of a chat about a specific fragrance I fell in love with and my journey to try and capture the perfect essence of that fragrance. Now, obviously, I'm well known to be a big fan of Alessandro Gualtieri, and first off, the Nascimato collection, and then obviously onto the Orto Paresi collection, which is his current work. I love, pretty much everything he's done, to be honest. But a good few years ago, I tried Nascimato's Black Afgano, which has got to be, I would imagine, Alessandro Gualtieri's most famous fragrance, and when I smelt it, it absolutely blew me away. It's a dark, exotic fragrance. There's possibly oud in it. It's dark, woodsy, there's green in there, and obviously it's very famous for having a note of hashish in it. But it was massive, it was smoky, it was huge, it was a room filler, it had amazing performance, it lasted and lasted with huge projection, massive sillage. And it was just wonderful stuff. And I think it came out in 2009. It was one of the first releases under the Nascimato collection or Nascimato line. And then obviously others were added to it. And I'm a big lover of Pardon. I own Pardon, I own Blamage. I also really like Duro, but I don't own it as yet. So what happened? I fairly recently tried Black Afgano again because I've never owned it. I've had decants of it. But I thought, do you know what? It's about time I'll add a bottle of Black Afgano to my collection. And I sprayed it in store and then went off for a coffee and stuff. And I just noticed straight away that the performance wasn't what I remembered it. There's been nothing official from Gualtieri or Nascimato to say that these fragrances have been reformulated, but I know they have. And I'm certainly not alone in thinking that. There's quite a few people who have complained about the newer versions of Black Afgano and how it's kind of not as potent as it once was. And that's a real shame because although, it smells amazing still, it's still got that beautiful, beautiful smell, it has dropped off. Now, I know the smell should be more important than the performance, and I totally agree with that. But when a perfume is kind of built on its performance, I still want that performance, and sadly for me it wasn't there. So then began a bit of a journey, because obviously it was so unique when it came out. A lot of other houses have done something similar and their interpretation of it, but they'll call it different things and they'll use different influences, but ultimately there's quite a few on the market that smell a bit like Black Afgano. So I decided to try and find another house that does something similar to Black Afgano, and try a few and see where I got. So my first port of call was to Perfume Parlour, and I got this, which is, they called originally when I first got this, they called this Black AFG 0031, and it's like Black Afgano. It's got black liquid, and to be honest with you, it smells an awful lot like the current formulation of Black Afgano, and the performance is pretty much identical. It's not massive and it's good. So as you can see, this is a 50ml bottle. I got through quite a lot of that, and this, don't forget, these Perfume Parlour dupes are like £14 a bottle. So I got this, and then I started running quite low on it, so I wanted to get another bottle of it. So I got another bottle of it fairly recently, and this is now called Strong Patun, and it's still got the same black liquid, and to my nose it smells exactly the same. So I don't know why they've changed the name on it. I'm assuming that this is some kind of legal requirement or something like that, but it still smells pretty much the same. In fact, I can't really tell them apart for smell. So I'm assuming they're using the same, the same recipe, the same juice, the same formulation that they did. So that's still available, and it's still very good. It's still a really, really good clone of Black Afgano. So if you want that Black Afgano vibe, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, you can go that way. I then decided to dive into my Autoparese collection. Now, I've done a big review on Toroni, which does have a little bit of the Black Afghano DNA in it. Now, when I reviewed this, I said that I preferred this to Black Afghano, and I do. I still rate Toroni as in my top 3 fragrances of all time. I love this stuff. It's massive, it's huge, it's smoky, there's paprika in there. But because it's so smoky and because it's so big, it takes itself away from smelling exactly like Black Afghano. And that's a good point. You know, that's a good reason to own Toroni. So if you've got Black Afghano and you want something different, Toroni is different to Black Afghano. But in the dry down, there are similarities. But although I prefer this, it's not Black Afghano. So my next step was to go deeper into my Autoparese collection and have a look at Boccanera. Now, Boccanera again has that Black Afghano DNA in the dry down, but this has notes of chili, ginger, and chocolate. So again, it's slightly different to Black Afghano, which you want it to be. You don't want every frag to smell exactly the same. But there is undoubtedly some of Black Afghano in the DNA on this bad boy. So that, again, is a very, very good fragrance, one I love, but it's not quite Black Afghano. So, back into the Autopareses again, this time Stercus, which is my current favourite at the moment, but that changes daily. This has got the most naughty marketing campaign ever. Again, there's a bit of Black Afghano in the DNA of the dry down, but this goes a completely different way of getting there. This mimics a Hindi oud, so it's almost got a fecal note when it opens, biblical performance, but again, it's not quite Black Afghano, but I do love it very, very much. I love all of the autos. I mean, let's be fair. I don't think that's any secret there. So then I kind of like, oh, right, what else is out there? So a very dear friend of mine, blah, 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 she sent me a sample of a Penhaligon's, which I believe is Marleybone wood, which does smell a lot like Black Afghano. However, because it's a Penhaligon's, on me, very, very soft. And it's also quite expensive, so I wasn't looking to buy it. I enjoyed it and I loved the sample, but it wasn't a replacement for Black Afghano for me. So then, desperate times, desperate measures, I took a punt on this, which is called Oud Afghano, and this is by Calice. Now, because it's called Oud Afghano, it's got to smell like Black Afghano, right? So it arrived, I sprayed it, I'll have another little spray now, boom. And what happens when you spray this, ultra cheapy by the way, hello, hello, it smells exactly like Black Afghano, and then it doesn't. Then it changes quite dramatically, and what happens is you get a sweet incense and smoke arrives in it. Now, obviously, the original Black Afghano does have a smoky note, but this then suddenly takes a sharp turn. So you've got Black Afghano, and then it turns into Interlude Man, or something very, very similar to Interlude Man. This would be a pretty good clone of Interlude Man, but there's a rose note in here. I don't know why there's a rose note in here, but it works. So when I was looking for a replacement for Black Afghano, what I ended up with was something that opens like Black Afghano, that then turns into something that's more similar to Interlude Man, and then becomes a smoky, incensey rose oud from the Middle East. This is about £12 for 100 mils. I highly recommend this. I really, really enjoy it, but, and it's a big but, it's not a clone of Black Afghano, which in some respects is a real strength to it, because you've got something here that's probably, you know, it's an interesting fragrance, and possibly, you know, I'll tell you what this would be good for. If you're a fan of Black Afghano but can't deal with the performance of the old Black Afghano, or you like Interlude Man but find it a bit relentless, this would be a good option for you. So that's Calice Oud Afghano. Highly recommended, £12 I think I paid for that for 100 ml. Really, really good performer, and a softer version of both the original Black Afghano, and it's certainly a softer version of Interlude Man. Much more, I'm appreciate Interlude Man, but I don't like it very much. I find it a bit too relentless and a bit too boring, really. But this is a lot more interesting to me. So if you're looking for something in that world, 12 quid, you cannot go wrong with that. Then, a very dear friend of mine sent me a sample of something else that she said would be the perfect fit. So that led me to this, which is Sospiro Laylati. This came out in 2011, and this is beautiful. as I say, a good friend sent me a sample. I sprayed it. I sat on this very settee, actually, next to my wife, sprayed the sample. My wife said, whoa, what is that? That smells amazing. And it was this. It was Laylati. So this then became a real quest for me to get it. This is an incredibly expensive perfume. This costs £265 from Harrods at the moment. So there's no way in God's earth I was actually going to pay that for a perfume. It's just way too much money. I think it's ridiculous. Nothing's worth that money. But they, you can find these for deals. This is actually from a very dear friend who had a backup bottle of it. It was a tester. So it doesn't come in the full presentation, it comes in a little white box. And he had this as a backup. There was about 98 mil out of the 100 left in this, and I got this for an absolute steal. Very dear friend. So I'm not going to embarrass him by telling you how much I paid for it, but put it this way, I would struggle to buy a bottle of Dior's Eau Sauvage for what I paid for this. So it was an absolute steal, and one that I've been looking for a very, very long time. So thank you very much. You know who you are. This does a really good impression of Black Afgano. It's a little lighter, it's a little cleaner, it's a little airier, it's not as smoky, it's not as sort of dirty feeling, but it's absolutely beautiful, and it has in its spirit, it has the essence of Black Afgano. When this came out in 2011, it was called Sospiro Laylati, and then at some point till now, it's now known as Laylati Afgano Pura. So obviously, the guys at Show Off knew what they were doing when they made this, because it is a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance, and it does smell so much like BA in the air. But it's, if anything, it's more wearable than Black Afgano, which is great. Performance is absolutely off the hook. You get at least 18 hours out of this. When I've worn it out, I've come home and woken up the next morning and it's still incredibly noticeable. The performance is fabulous. So, don't pay full retail for it. Try and find it in a deal. Try and find it from a trusted seller on eBay or in one of the Facebook groups or something like that, and get it that way. But I really, really recommend it. If you've not tried Black Afgano, please do, because it is such an amazing fragrance and it is very, very unique, despite the fact lots of other houses are making a version of it. It was a real game changer when it came out. And I think it still is. So in closing, if you want to capture a little bit of the magic of Black Afgano without spending a lot of money, Perfume Parlour. I think these are £14 now for 50 mils, and that's a really, really good interpretation of it and a really, really good deal. If you are looking to extend your Auto Paresi collection, Boccanera, fabulous. Sturkus, a little bit edgy, fabulous. And the monster that is Toroni are all there. They've all got a little bit of that Black Afgano DNA, but they're all very, very different. They are expensive, so please sample them first. Do not blind buy them. And if you're looking for some fun, something that smells a little bit like Black Afgano, a little bit like Interlude Man, and then a little bit different on it, all on its own bat, have a look at this. 12 quid, 100 mils. Plastic bottle top, solid glass afterglow. Really good fragrance, this actually, and one that surprised me. I was obviously looking for a 100% clone of Black Afgano, but that didn't come as this. It came as something completely different, but with a little bit of a Black Afgano opening. So again, really, really good option there if you're looking to add to your collection on a budget. Listen, on the subject of adding to your collection on a budget, I have had a couple of emails and a couple of requests from some of our newer subscribers about building a collection. So what I'm going to do is, over the next couple of days, I'm going to get a video together of cheap fragrances that will cover sort of every kind of situation that you need, that you can add to your collection or use to build up your collection. So there'll be another video coming out very soon with some cheapies. Listen, thank you very much for your time. Always a pleasure, as ever. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. So from me, Rich, thanks very much. See you next time. Cheers. Bye.